Hey y'all, welcome to the channel and welcome to the next chapter with Adventure of the Bus. She got unwired and got a room with the view. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the journey. Hey y'all, I'm back out at the van today and I'm here working on it, working on the bus today. I've gotten some wood. I want to give a shout out to some friends of mine. Shelby Yard Cards donated some wood to me. Lowe's gave me some wood, 2 sheets of plywood from Lowe's, and the rest of this wood is some rough cut lumber that I'm going to cut down into pieces that I can use for the floor basing. So I've got wood that I need for the floor, but I'm seeing after last night's storm and probably next week's rain, I'm going to have to get some stuff done with the water because it's still leaking in here really bad, even though I have the tarp on the top. So I'm going to have to redo that. I'm going to have to get this roof fixed. So I'm going to have to order the stuff I need to fix the roof. And so we had a crazy storm here last night. It was really, really bad. A lot of rain, a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning. And so, yeah, plywood from Lowe's, and the rest of this wood underneath here is from Shelby Yard Cards, and I want to just say thank you to them. They donated to my project, and it's going to be super great to have this wood to help fix the flooring and get the stuff up to snuff. So I'm just going to take this wood out of here today. I'm going to be putting it under the carport over here, up on my sawhorses. I'm going to probably move it more toward the back, but I'm going to set up a little work area here for the wood and stuff. In my carport, that's a really nice place that I get to work at. Right now my camera is set up over there recording what I'm doing. I brought the bus over to where it's at right now so that my mom and dad can get around the van easily, and my dad's in a wheelchair, so he can just drive his wheelchair up and look in here and see what's going on, and that'll be easier for him. So he was a airplane mechanic in the military, and he can't walk anymore, and it's real tough for him. So if you think of it, say a prayer for him. So thank you for doing that. But really, and I'm a veteran myself. My father served in the military for 20 plus years, 22 years. And I served in the military for 5. My husband served in the military for 20 years. My husband passed away in 2011, and I've been a widow since then. So that's a little bit about me. But yeah. So today's going to be cleanup, get ready, try and figure out what's going on, probably work on getting the rest of the rubber pulled up off the floor, and maybe start taking some of these extra wires out. I'm not sure what I'm going to go to today, but I'm going to work on some stuff. So blessings. Hope you enjoy the journey today. Okay, so you can see here I'm starting to go around and get the wiring taken care of. It took a minute to get through all the wiring because it is a lot of wiring, and had to keep going around and walking back and forth between things to figure out where the wires were and where they went to. What I did is basically started with wires that were just hanging down, and then I would just follow them back to where they were going. And right here you see me taking down the mini split system in the front. I didn't totally disconnect it, I just took it down so I could get that wall down, because that little wall was blocking where I could see some of the wiring. So that's the reason I had to take that down. I did later on, and you'll see it in the video, I remount it, but it was necessary to move that out of the way. I also have a fan set up because it's been definitely over 80 degrees, and some days the humidity's been very high, so got to keep the air moving inside. I had an AC unit in there too, but it just was not keeping up with the heat, especially with the van not being insulated right now. So yeah, and you can see me walking back and forth there tracing wires, and I did get through a majority of the wires, and I have most of the things disconnected now, but I still have some wires that I have to trace back to their sources. And there I was measuring, there was a quick little segment there where I was measuring to try and figure out where I want to put things. I'm going to try and do a layout of the van, and I already kind of did a mock-up of it once already, but I am working on a mock-up also so that I can figure out where and how I want the layout to be. next segment you'll see me doing more wiring. Yes, the wiring was a lot of work. And this is where I'm mounting the mini split system back up on the wall to temporarily until I can get it drained of coolant. I was fortunate enough to get somebody that could drain the coolant out of the bus system, but the coolant for that AC mini split system is a different type of coolant, so I have to find someone who can do that. So here I'm starting work on the window and taking down the frame for the window and then working on the window itself. What I did, I had a couple screws that did not come completely loose. First cleaned up the window, cleaned up the frame, and then worked on getting the screws that broke off. There was a couple screws that were rusted and I had to drill them out, and that's what you see me doing there. And then once I got those drilled out and cleaned up, I was able to take and put the butyl tape around the edge, which you just saw me do that. And put the butyl tape around the edge. I made sure I had a good thick layer of it, and then I was able to clean up the frame. That's what I'm doing there, cleaning up the frame for the window, and then I'll put the window back in place, and then I put butyl tape on the other edge and remounted it. And I'll be talking about that too. Hey y'all, I'm out here in the van. I did some work today. I did some video recording on my GoPro. I'm going to show you what I did today. Worked on one of the windows, got down part of the wall here. I got some butyl tape and was able to reseal this one window. So this window is done, but the rest of the windows still have to be done. It's going to take me a while to get them done because it took me almost all day to get one window done because I want to do it right and I don't want to do it halfway. And I'll probably have to take it off and reseal it a little bit when I get I might not, because I got it sealed good now, and I can just frame it out around the window. And but I've got a good working sealed window now. One window is sealed. We're moving forward. I got some stuff to seal the roof. I don't have all the things to seal the roof yet, but I do have some stuff to seal the roof with. I'm going to be moving on to that this next week. So that's kind of the plan. So I'm going to just show you the one window I worked on and show you how it looks. And that's what I'm going to do. So this is the first window I worked on. I ended up spray painting the frame gold because after I took out the window and cleaned up the rust with the grinder, I only had gold spray paint and I wanted to seal the metal. I might take it off and put a rust inhibitor kind of metal paint, but just as long as the metal's sealed, that's much better than what it was. It's got butyl tape on the inside here. I put it all on the inside edge around these two, where the two seams of the window come together. So this is really super sealed in here. And I kind of cleaned up these things. I got to clean up the tracks a little bit more and put some grease in them, but that's probably about it right there. It's much better than it was, trust me. It's on there solid now. There's no gap in between it. It is sealed tight and hopefully will not leak in that window. I'll show you on the outside. I put butyl tape around the edge of the window and then on the outside edge of the window, so it's got two layers of butyl tape on the outside as well. So it's really sealed well all the way around that window. So this window is completely sealed in and tight, and there's a little bit of butyl tape on the outside, but that's okay. It's supposed to squeeze out some. And I think I got it done just in time for all the weather to come in. So I'm going to kind of button up for the night. I'm kind of done. I have a meeting later today with a friend of mine, so I'm going to go do that. But I got one window done. Yay! I moved forward. That's a forward moving progress instead of tearing things out. I got to do one thing to move forward. So I was wanting to try it out and see how much butyl tape it would take for one window so that I know what I have to budget for it. But I definitely want to do each window the way I did that one and get them sealed good. So one window down. Let's see, I got quite a few more to go. I got 3 on this side and then 5 on the other side. So got a few windows to go. So yeah, 5 on the other side. So I have 8 more windows to go, and it takes me a good while to do it. So that's it. That's it for today with the bus. Okay, so here you can see me kind of cleaning up a little bit, and then I'm also moving the connections for the tubing for the mini split unit up out of the way because I want to get some work done in the van today. And this is another day after I've worked on the windows, and I'm starting work on the inside of the van. What I started with is actually taking out those 2 seats and breaking them down because I've decided it's just not worth the wait to have them. So I did finally make a decision on these two seats. They're just too large and bulky and heavy, but I did keep the seat belts because I may reuse those. But I had to break them down so that I can sell them as scrap metal. And so this is me working on the first seat, getting it broke down to the most basic elements, and that's what I was doing there. And then I go on to the next one. Taking them out was quite easily because they only had like 4 bolts in them, but breaking them down from after I broke down the first one, it was much easier to break down the second one. And but it was pretty easy because they had like little clamps on there, and it made it real easy to do it. Here I'm starting to work on the wall, and I'm taking the frames off the windows. I didn't actually remove these windows, I just took the frames off the outside and just finished demolition of that wall, and took it apart so that I could get it ready to clean it up. And so there, I'm still breaking down there. I'm actually starting to do some grinding. I was grinding off these little connectors that were up there for this like rail system that the other owner had installed. I'm not going to reuse them because it was just not strong enough. Here I am starting work on grinding down the rusty parts of the metal here by the windows, and that's what I was working on, that whole metal framing there, and cleaning up in between the rails all the stuff that was in there. So that's what I'm doing here, is grinding down that stuff. Thought it would be better if you guys could have a little bit more of a close-up view of what was being done, and because the grinder's kind of cool. I enjoy doing the grinder. It's dangerous at times, but it is also kind of cool. You have to be careful because it does throw a lot of sparks, and you want to be careful not to have anything flammable around while you're using the grinder. Always use safety first. I was wearing a respirator as well as I was wearing glasses to protect my eyes, so it's very important that you use safety when you're and wearing gloves on my hands. I didn't have a guard on that because I was using wire wheel at this time. I don't have a guard, but I did finally purchase a guard. So I bought this grinder at a pawn shop, which I found a lot of times when I need tools for a good price, I go to a pawn shop. There's one in my local town here that I go to often, and they are more than happy. They're getting to know me quite well because I go in there and buy tools quite a bit. But I found that this grinder was really, really very effective in taking down the major parts of the rust here. And this is a braided wire wheel, and I want to say that some of the YouTube videos that I've watched in the past, I think the one that I actually got this tip from was Navigation Nowhere, and I just want to give a shout out to him and say thank you for that tip about the braided wire wheels. I bought mine at Harbor Freight. It wasn't really super expensive, but it works really well, and it really knocks down that high level rust, and it was very helpful in the journey. Here's the deal, is when you have water that you ignore where water's going, it does a lot of damage, and it causes rust everywhere. So you have to take care of this rust. If you don't take care of this rust, it will grow into a bigger problem. So basically what I'm doing is getting down to the bones of the bus, and I'm really knocking down the difficulties that are way underneath the surface. We're just exposing all the things that are broken and getting to the point that we're going to get down to the bare bones of everything. And here you see me taking the vacuum apart because I thought I was going to get some cool footage here. Joke's on me. I learned later it's probably more beneficial to get the larger chunks up first, because I spent more time unclogging my vacuum than I did actually getting cool footage. And in a short segment here, you're going to see me cut to actually sweeping up the major parts and then just vacuuming up what's left. I learned a hard lesson there because I think I spent more time, like I said, spent more time unclogging the hose than I did actually getting cool footage. And it probably is a good idea to clean up all your tools first before you actually do all this little vacuuming stuff. I tend to get in the middle of a project and I just kind of, things get everywhere. And then when I get done with the project, I'll clean it up really good. And I always start usually every morning with a clean slate, and I will clean it up. This one here, I actually got some decent footage of me cleaning up some of the debris. It was a lot of styrofoam that was blown loose when I was doing the wire wheeling. But yeah, and like I said, I wore a respirator, so I didn't have this stuff going into my lungs. You don't want to breathe all this stuff in, the dust, the dirt, the rust, the styrofoam. You don't want to be breathing this stuff in. It's not good for your system. So I was wearing safety gear when I was doing this work. So even when I was cleaning up, I was wearing the safety gear. And it can get kind of hot, especially when the temperatures are hot. But yeah, it's a challenging thing to do. Here I finally got smart, got the broom out, and started cleaning up some of the tools and getting them out of the way so that I can really clean up the mess. And that's what I got done. And this is all the debris from the wall. It's after I got the rust down, I knocked out some of the panels in between the walls and got those cleaned out as well. And I was doing all this to prep and prepare for being able to start painting the wall, and that's where I'm knocking down the panels that are left, and of course making more mess and then cleaning up afterwards. And you'll see shortly where I start actually cleaning up the wall itself. And I think I had to do 2 days worth of wire wheeling before this is the second day's worth of wire wheeling before I actually got the wall completely down to the bare bones and getting it ready to do the rust treatment and paint. After I wire wheeled it, I treated it with a product from Rust-Oleum that was basically it stops the rust. I can't remember what it's called, but I was really pleased with the product, and I was actually trying to find the footage that I had where I showed it up close. If I can find it later on, I might do it in a short and just give a shout out to Rust-Oleum, because it was really a great product, and it neutralized all the rust and got it converted. That's the word. This is where I actually got the floor cleaned up a little bit, because there was bad wood, but there was also metal down there, so I was kind of trying to clean up all the metal in this wall here. And here's where I'm using the rust treatment on the wall and getting it, and then I'm going, after the rust treatment was done and I cleaned it up, I put paint on. By and seeing this next chapter in Adventura, the bus. I got a lot of work done in these segments of video. There'll be more to come, and lots of fun stuff that we're covering in the weeks to come here. I'm really actually getting excited because I'm in the future me right now, and some of the stuff that I've gotten done already, I'm really excited about what's to come in the weeks to come. I have a lot of footage I've been collecting. Sometimes I'm not as great at collecting footage, and sometimes the footage doesn't work out. Because I'm one person, I do my best to get as much captured as possible, but sometimes I can't do it all. And I really actually had to call in the troops this past week to help me. I asked my brother to come over and help me with some tasks, and you'll see that in a future video. But I am always welcoming any help that anybody wants to offer to come in and help me work on the bus. Those in the local North Carolina area, you're always welcome to come on over and help me out with Adventura, especially if you want to learn how to do some stuff, because I can teach you. I had a great time on this journey so far, and I'm looking forward to more adventures with Aventura, and it's been a fun journey. And I invite you to go on the journey, continue to live your dreams, and just live life intentionally. That's what I'm doing, and I invite you to do the same. Thank you all for taking time to stop by. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Y'all come back now.
Some things are not the same as they were a year ago.